Hello makers, my name is Abhay PA, intern from MakerGram. I will be the host for today's MakerChat edition. MakerGram is an open community platform for makers and hardware enthusiasts to learn, collaborate, and share. This is our sixth edition of MakerChat webinar series. If you are joining for the first time, don't worry, all the previous editions are recorded and are available in MakerChat YouTube channel. Without much delay, let me get to our today's section. Our today's topic is Introduction to Machine Learning with Intel Tool by Ali Mustufa Shaikh. Ali is a software innovator at Intel and part of Microsoft student partner at beta level. He is a Google certified educator level 1, level 2. He manages Google Cloud Developers community at Mumbai as a co-organizer. He established the first TensorFlow user group in India, and he is currently managing TensorFlow user group Mumbai as organizer. In our today's session, we are mainly focusing on machine learning using Intel tools and how to use OpenVINO Toolkit and get started. Before the session, I request all the attendees to turn off the video and mute the audio for uninterrupted learning experience. Once again, thank you all for joining the webinar. Over to you, Ali.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Let me share my screen and then we can get started.
Sure.
Okay, this looks good. Okay. Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Ali Mustafa, and if you are from CS, so Sudo, hello everyone. I hope you have had a wonderful Sunday, and apart from that as well, you guys are here in the Sunday evening. Most of us mostly party on Sunday, maybe, or developers sit and solve the errors. But yeah, we are here together to learn machine learning. And before I start, let me be very specific about what we are going to learn. So we are going to learn about. So you might be using a lot of hardwares, and whenever you are going to buy a computer or you're going to buy a hardware, you specifically check for the company, you check for n number of details, and you then buy that system, right? But if you come home and you realize that you want to do deep learning or machine learning on that system, and you don't have that capability, you just have a CPU, you don't have a GPU. So how to go about it, and how can you use Intel's tool to work on deep learning and machine learning tools using CPUs? We'll also cover some part of accelerated hardware like Intel Move videos and NCS, Neural Compute Stack. So we'll discuss a bit about that, and this is going to be much like a beginner session, so no prior knowledge of ML is required. If you are an advanced user of machine learning, this session might not be for you, because this is basically for students who are getting started with machine learning and they have zero idea about it, and or moderately, fairly a bit of an idea about it, and they want to get started with tools and make their projects. So it is specifically for them. And I will be specifically talking about Intel tools in most of the slides. So some of the slides might be general, and it will be generally about the concepts of machine learning, and some slide might be about Intel tools like OpenVINO Toolkit or MoVideos as we discussed earlier. So set your expectations accordingly. If you feel that might be helpful for you, do continue. So I say myself, so I have a lot of, I have been contributing to a lot of community, and I've been doing a lot of work out there. And if someone says me to introduce myself in one line, I say I build human networks. Because I'm very good with not the computer network. They are messy and I don't like them. And I'm also not good at them. But yeah, I build human networks, and humans are very easy to connect, and you have a very good community out here as well. So that's what I do usually. So I usually make communities, help them to engage with each other, and be part, and get interactive. And yeah, I'm also the part of Intel's software innovator program. and Google Certified Educator level 1 and level 2, apart from all that was mentioned by the host. I talk a lot and I've been at different conferences and different colleges. Majorly, my target audience is students. And I specifically talk about how students can leverage the power of machine learning to solve Indian problems and specifically eliminate problems which they face on a daily basis. I also am, a very, you can say, I also talk about responsible AI use cases and many more. And I kind of majorly work in um, research part in bias in ML and how biases affect machine learning performance and how we can use different techniques to eliminate them on data collection level rather than the algorithm level. Because if the data is clean, everything will be much more cleaner. But if your data is not clean, then it might lead to bias in terms of human bias or maybe data set biases. So yeah. Um, this is a slide to give you a broad idea of what I have been doing till now. But you should know your speaker, and probably it might help you to maybe attend the session and be very responsive. Also, follow the 10,000 hour rule, which says that you cannot, if you want to master a skill from zero to hero, it will require you around 10,000 hours. But that's not true to some extent, and if you have a good instructor with you, it might take you around 20 hours to 40 hours to master a technology. And with this around an hour of a seminar, obviously you will not become the master of the technologies, but you will definitely gain some insights about the different tech which we are talking about and how to implement them in your day-to-day life. Okay, this is some legal information which Intel actually shows you before we begin the presentation. So I'll keep the slide for a second so that you can have a look. Okay. So, as an Intel software innovator, you might be wondering, what do I do, or what is my role? Do I work with Intel, or do I work for Intel, or there are so many thoughts surrounding it. So, I thought maybe let's clear that first before moving on to the session. So, as an Intel software innovator, we are not an employee of Intel. We are, a normal innovator or a maker, and we are independent developers who kind of experiment with different technologies, different hardwares, and kind of do our projects specifically. But we are powered by Intel. That means Intel provides us state of art, hardwares, opportunities to go into conferences, pay trips to different big conference where we are publishing papers, and so on. So I specifically also train people on Intel technology. So I have also taken like around 5,000 hours of session on Intel's course DC to Edge, data center to Edge. If you're curious about that, you can reach out to me personally, and I will definitely share the link with you guys at the end of the session. Okay. So as an Intel software innovator, there are specifically 4 fields into that, and I'm part of one API and IoT, and I work with both the teams, and we kind of get support from Intel for hardware and for software. And we are individual innovator and not part of Intel. Okay, but because Intel supports us, so that's why it's Intel software innovator. So these are some tools which we specifically work on: Intel Dev Mesh and NCS, a neural compute stack, or the Camera and the OpenVINO Toolkit. So Intel has a suite of hardwares available, and we kind of tend to work with the ones which can help us to make our projects or come up with some research ideas. And this is my dev mesh, and you can see a bunch of projects published there. So one of the projects is about detecting PPE for COVID warriors. So how can you actually check if they are, equipped with the proper uh, tools so that they can come into the hospital or into the COVID ward? So it is an object detection algorithm built on top of TensorFlow, optimized using OpenVINO Toolkit, and deployed on edge devices. So you can go ahead and check it, check my Dev Mesh, and you will find 3, 4 projects there. but I usually post projects on GitHub, so you can go to GitHub as well. So yeah. So before we begin the ML journey or the AI journey on or any specific talk about technology, always understand that technology should help humans to be better at work, to be better at home, to be better at everything. Okay, and the sole purpose of learning the technology should be to help human being and the mankind and the problems which we face on a daily basis. Okay, and also to understand the business value which it brings if you are implementing that for a company. So let's say today I go to a startup and they want to implement AI and ML, and they want to spend a lot of money developing that system, but at the end of the day they are not going to get that output or that get that profit from that system. So if that is the case, you should probably not go for machine learning systems, because if the costing is high and you are not able to recover the cost, then it is useless to implement any system for that case, not specifically machine learning. But most of the times, due to the hype, people try to implement machine learning everywhere, and that should not happen. And you should be aware of it. So we will follow an approach of going through the examples of where we can implement machine learning, and then we will go about how we can implement it and how can we use Intel tools to implement them onto our problem statements. So the agenda will be like, starting with the problems, discussing them, coming up with the solution, and then using the tools to solve that problem. Okay, because learning technology is very easy. You might find there are more than around 200K people who have taken the course of machine learning online, but there are only around 70K engineers. Not even 70, it's around 17K, 17,000 engineers of machine learning available in the world. So taking a course doesn't make you, a machine learning engineer unless you understand or identify the problem and try to solve it. So learning technology is easy; anyone can learn it, but applying it specifically would definitely help you out in your career as well as if you're a student, that is a plus one. So we'll talk specifically about India because we live in India, and I might also. So you might be also there might be some international participants available. So you can target specifically for your country the problem statements which you might be facing. I will discuss some general problem statements which are underlying to Indian subcontinent and specifically APAC region. So let's go ahead. Okay. So as Indian, if there are I'm assuming there are a lot of Indians in the audience. So what language do we speak as Indian? Can anyone put that into chat? I am here in the chat, so I will be answering or seeing your responses. So go ahead and try to give your response. If you're shy, you can use personal reply, and I will be able to see that as well. Okay. So go ahead and kind of type it. What languages do we speak? Saraja says Hindi. Uh, Tariq says Malayalam. Okay, that's great. Many. Oh, that's really good. English, Malayalam. Oh, many people from South. That's really awesome. Okay. Uh-huh. I really love South. I've been visiting there for a lot of time now. And Gujarati. That's good. Telugu. Yeah. Okay, that's awesome, right? So, what do you think? What language does the United States of America speak? If I talk about United States of America, USA, what language do you think they speak? So most of us agree on that that most of the people speak English, and some of them speak Latino English, which is just a dialect of English. Or how about Japanese people or people living in Japan? Which language do they speak? Yeah, most of them. So if you have seen the video of Bhuvan Bam as well, if you know him, you're a YouTuber, a famous YouTuber. He visited Japan as well, and he told that his observation was everyone there speaks Japanese and they love their language very much. And if you talk about Middle East, which language do they speak? Arabic. Yeah, most of them speak Arabic. And Urdu as well sometimes, but Urdu is specific to Pakistan, India, and major subcontinent. So if I talk about India, we don't have a official language because there are so many different languages available. But bunch of not people speak Hindi as their official state languages. And like in Maharashtra, we speak Marathi. In South, we have Telugu, we have Tamil, we have Malayalam, we have Kannada, and then in Gujarat, we have Gujarati. So all states usually have their own language, and if you see the official count, there are around 23 languages. But if you count them properly, there are around 30 languages. Uh, as of now, you if you just look from the upper angle, okay, and that's not it. That's not just it. It's all the 30 languages which we are just saying. It's further divided into different dialects. So if I'm living in Mumbai, there might be guys who might be speaking Marathi very differently than the guys who are in Pune speaking Marathi. Okay, and same with people speaking Hindi in the north, very far away in the north. And if you come to Mumbai and speak the same language, it might be very, very different because the dialect changes and most of the meaning changes. Our slangs are very much different than theirs. And even some words in Bengali, which really mean something there, might be, real bad words here. Okay. I don't want to name them, but yeah, that is really, one of the problems. And with a nation of 1.3 billion people, language becomes a barrier. Okay, and you might say that there's a lot of people who are not able to speak a single language, and every technology company believes that language should not be a barrier, because if you are on internet and if you see the information available on internet, it is mostly in English and it's not in the native language. And if people want to access that information, they need to learn English. Now that is a bias in its own self, that if you want to use technology, learn English. So this should not be the case. How can machine learning solve this? Through your ideas. So do you think machine learning can solve this problem of this 1600 dialects between 1.3 billion people and around so many different languages? Yes? Oh, yes. Machine learning can solve this problem. And you might be seeing a lot of companies like Google already in place with helping linguistic or maybe developing linguistic keyboards. For example, you might be seeing English. Okay. So if you are saying English, English means a combination of English and Hindi. That becomes English, right? So this is one of the examples. There are many such keyboards available, and that's why it is one of a major business of understanding the linguistic barrier and eradicating it. The second example which I want to show you is about how do we consume content. When we have 1.3 billion people, how do we consume content? One example can be TikTok, and if you see the content on TikTok, you might understand how we generate or consume content on a daily basis. With around 300 billion subscribers of Geo, consuming 2 GB per day, and if I count other operators as well, I might imagine around there might be around 3 to 400 million people who might be using internet on a daily basis, and around 2 GB per day. That becomes around 600 million gigabytes of data per day. So where do this data go? How the consumption, how people consume this data. So if you look closely in such applications like TikTok, which has been quite famous in India, and I'll show the stats for that. And on one hand, it proves to be a boon to some people. So for example, this guy, I really love his dance, is Hydroman, and he dances under the water. So this is under the water, and you might see his nose it's tied up, and he dances under the water. And really cool. If you watch his TikToks, it is really awesome, not so bad. Another person, this guy, he is a car washer, but at the same time he's able to use TikTok and make dance videos. Was appreciated by a lot of big people covered by Brute lately. But at the same time, if you look at this videos or most of these videos which are not so good for consumption basis, or might trigger a lot of warning or a lot of not so not so good reaction from the audience, but they are very viral on the platform like TikTok. And how does people, so there are similar apps of TikTok. Okay, it's not like that TikTok is the only app available in the Play Store which does this. There is bunch of applications, bunch of clones available. Now the latest one is around Instagram, in telling you about reels and everything. But you can see there are a bunch of similar applications available. But why TikTok stands out from all of this? Because it enables individual, likes these guys are, they are truck drivers, and they don't know ABC of smartphones. Okay, they just use smartphones for specifically calling purposes or WhatsApp or XYZ factors. But this guy's creating content is really, next level of bringing technology, making technology so accessible that anyone can just pop up, take the mobile out, turn on the camera, and make use of it to develop content. And that's massively, it brings its own advantages and own disadvantages. Advantages being hidden talents coming online, and disadvantages being a lot of hateful speeches, cringe content, and a lot of other things coming online. And both of them have their own side effects and everything. So as you go ahead in your journey of learning technology and implementing that, you should be aware about how people consume your content or how people are using technology. Now, an app like TikTok is able to fetch so much of attraction from the youth. So there might be something special, right? So how they use machine learning. If you study their case study of how they use machine learning internally, you will be surprised to know that everything, literally everything, happens about with the algorithm. Okay, and the user's interaction is very passive. Okay, it just either swiping, either everything is taken care by the algorithm. And it is so adaptive that people are so addicted to it that they spend around 52 minutes of their daily life on TikTok. And mind you, it's not a video of 18 minutes. It's a video of around how many seconds? 15 seconds to 20 seconds to 1 minute maximum. And if you're watching 52 minutes, that means if you're watching, I'm assuming that you're watching a video of 30 seconds, it takes you around, a lot of videos to watch in that 52 minutes. And if you see the installations, it's around 190 million users have installed it. Okay. And worldwide, around 1 billion people have installed it. It's not just about India. So around 1 billion people, 1/7 of the world has installed TikTok on their phones. How does this, how did TikTok manage to do so in very less time, competing with the platforms like Facebook and Instagram, which already had audience and they had retention, they had activities going on, and TikTok came, in middle and grabbed this attention. So technology plays a very, very important role in understanding user and making sure how user interacts with the technology. Now, I don't need to talk about this, but again, it just shows you how we consume content and how machine learning can help you to build applications like TikTok, which can be, way better. Now TikTok is banned, but if you see similar applications like Roposa and all, they're not able to gather so much of attention as far as the TikTok was able to develop because of its, abilities and features. But yeah, they are making their attempt, and probably they might be successful in the near future. So the question comes, why a voice first or why AI first? You might be seeing a lot of companies going around and talking about that voice is the future, AI is the future. And why is it so? If you're aware of this video, anyone? Yes, all the boys? No. So this was a good video, a lot of emotion. So what we understand is, um, human to human communication doesn't require a language per se. Okay. So even if you're talking with human to human communication, you are a human, right? And she does some actions, and you suddenly are able to relate to the actions because it is emotion. You know, we can use the emotions. We can actually, understand it. Though I was not able to understand any of the background music playing out there, but I was able to understand what she's trying to convey, and the boy in the video as well. Now, it doesn't really work that way with the machine. Okay, so machines need a lot of input. They actually need a proper input. Unless and until it gets a proper input, it will not be able to generate a proper output for you. So if you're trying that with machines, so let's say you have an important webinar, and a machine says I want to restart. Okay, Now, if you blink an eye, it doesn't really work that way, right? Whatever you do, you burn the machine, it doesn't really work. It will restart means it will restart, okay? Because there is an input signal to that, and it will act on that input signal and restart the system. Whatever you do, it doesn't really matter, okay? Because machines work with that, with that sense that if they have an input, they will process that input and give an appropriate output. So it doesn't really matter if you burn it, if you kind of do whatever you want, you say bad words or whatever, right? It is gonna get an input, it is gonna work on that and give you a output as a as processing it, whatever is desired. And it has been observed that the major input devices is keyboard. Most of the people use keyboard, touch screen. Most of you interact with keyboards, and on systems as well, you use keyboard a lot. And the problem with keyboard is that you cannot convey your emotions into keyboard at the same time. Whatever you're writing, most of the people don't know to write. So it is like you know how to speak, you know how to understand languages, but you don't know how to read or write. Okay, and I'm not talking about you guys as students. I'm talking about people who are living in two-tier cities or who are not so privileged, who are not able to get their education completed, and they know English, they know some amount of English, they know some amount of Hindi, but they cannot actually write it. They cannot write it properly, or they cannot read it, but they can understand it. Okay, if you talk with them, they will be able to understand you, but at the same time, they will not be able to write it or read it. Okay, so that becomes a problem because they are restricted by the technology. They cannot access phones, or they cannot work with it, and that's why you might be seeing a lot of people, who are in that category using still using Nokia's very old phones, right? And the ones with keypads, and the one with 9 numbers and ABCD. So why they use that phones is because they don't know how to kind of operate with this bigger keyboards, and they don't know how to work with them. So um, companies are pushing towards they found an alternative that people know to speak, right? And if they speak and interact with the devices, that will be massive, because we can use NLP techniques, we can use NLU techniques, natural language understanding, and we can come up with assistant systems which can help them operate their phones. So you just need to say, "Hello, call ABC," and it will call ABC. Okay, and that will be quite possible. And if I talk about native languages, Google has already collected a lot of data, and they are around launching a lot of new models available on a daily basis for their assistant systems. And if you have heard about these languages, just say a yes. Rangpuri, Rangkashi, Rangdeli, Avdhi. Have you heard about any of these languages? Um, no one. They are mostly belonging to North, but I have been working with these languages. So these languages exist, and they have more than 5 to 10 million speakers. And I have been, collecting a lot of samples of them, and probably you will see a lot of models coming out of these languages. Okay, even though you don't know them, right? But they exist, and they are there. Okay. So moving forward, we understood some of the problem statements available, and let me play this short video so that you might be able to understand some of the more problems available. So if you see this video, can someone tell me what's happening in the video? Yeah, anyone in the chat? I will be more than helpful because I don't know what's happening here in the video. So I want you guys to tell me what's happening out here. Yeah. So there's a guy, and I guess he's having a fruit. Apricot, yeah, is that it? Okay, I don't know. But he's segregating them in different sizes using, you know, two sticks. Okay, and it's a simple classification algorithm, or you can say, if you talk about unsupervised learning, clustering of different sizes into similar boxes. Okay, and then selling them according to different prices because they belong to different. Bigger ones will be costlier, smaller one will be cheap. Now, do you think if you implement AI/ML and give this guy a machine, which will help him sort this thing? Well, is it a proper approach, or should he continue doing this? Yep. Do you think providing him with a machine could faster the process or help him, in a business terms, or he should continue doing what he's doing. So and it says that he should continue this. Any of the other people want to add something? Yeah, so Arun says that in some ways it will replace the employee. Okay. He should continue, no give machine. Okay. So different opinions, right? Now, just imagine as his perspective. Being a farmer, you don't earn much money. Obviously, this fruits he's going to sell in a wholesale market, and he's not even going to get around 5 rupees for one piece, 5 to 10 rupees maximum for one even apricot. And if you see the amount of apricots here, no, it's not apricot. It's, I guess. Uh, okay, let's forget whatever fruit it is. So if you see, a bunch of fruits here, you might not be even able to make around 10,000 rupees selling all of this, right? 10,000 is a big number, I assume. In a wholesale market, 10 to 20,000 will be the maximum amount of money. But if you present pomegranate, sorry, yeah, it is a pomegranate. And if you provide him an opportunity with a machine, will that help him? Will he be able to afford that machine? How much time will he require to even hit a breakthrough or recover the cost of the machine? Okay, and then on profit on top of that, will replacing this employee help the master or the main farmer? Okay, what he will be doing in that time if he is delegating this work to a machine, and will he have a capacity of electricity there so that the machine can operate? So these are some of the factors which you need to think about when you are implementing machine learning problems in real life. Okay. So this might be, a very good research project. You might have a good research paper on this, but is it really worth it to implement this for this guy? Now let's replace the same scenario with a farmer, with a group of farmer of 100 farmers. Okay, 100 farmers are there, and they are producing the same fruit, pomegranate, in quantities of lakhs. Okay, they are let's say generating like 2 to 4 lakh or 5 lakhs or 10 lakhs of the same fruit, and they're a group of people and they want to fast up this process because they want to again cultivate it and they want to start the process again. So will that be a feasible approach, or that will or they should do it like this only? Yeah, yeah. So understand the business use case, go ahead and implement the technology which can solve that business. Okay, so I hope it is pretty clear as of now. So let's move on. So what is machine learning? Machine learning, the intelligence behind internet. Is it a hype? What is the hype? What is the reality? How much is the hype? How much is the reality? We'll talk about that. Okay. So what is machine learning? Machine learning is a branch of artificial intelligence, and it just improves the performance of a task over time or with experience. Okay, gaining experience over time and just gets better at it. Okay. So if you are a child, you are reciting Johnny Johnny Yes Papa. How many of you remember that poem? Yeah, Johnny Johnny Yes Papa. No one remembers that? Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, people remember that, right? Obviously. Who will forget Johnny Johnny Yes Papa? If you forget Johnny Johnny Yes Papa, that means you should again go back to nursery. Okay, junior KG. So it is why you remember that is because uh, you know you were taught it you have repeated it so many times that now it is embedded into your brain. Okay, it is part of your life, kind of. Okay, so even if you're on the bed, you're dying, and someone asks you Johnny Johnny, is yes papa. Okay, because that's very natural, right? And so what happened was over time you actually improved, and it got embedded into your system. Okay, human body system. So before we get technical, before we discuss about some technicalities, let's make it very clear that many people say that it's not rocket science, right? It's very easy. It's not rocket science. Rocket science is easy. Okay, it's not it's not difficult. And at the same time, someone learning music theory, hearing the same thing, or someone might be someone who is learning rocket science might be like, hey guys, it's not music theory, it's rocket science. So nothing is difficult because it's man-made, it's human-made, and you can learn that. Yes, it depends on how much time you will take to learn it and who is your trainer. Totally impacts your learning rate. So if your trainer is good, that means you will be able to run faster. If your trainer is bad, he's just grabbing or not giving you proper resources, then it might take you a lot of time to learn. Okay, so don't bring that bias and continue learning. Okay, so when I explain about machine learning, I usually say that imagine a child. Okay, how does a child look like? And specifically in this picture, what is this child doing? Yeah. Also, I would like to ask the organizers about how much time do we have?
We have time more till 9:30.
Okay, that's good. So because I just want to, make sure that I fall inside the time, is I keep on going, I talk aloud, and I don't actually remember the time frame. Okay,
Okay.
so the guy is actually crying, right? Why do you think this guy is crying? Um, do you have any reason to say that he's crying? Why he must be crying? Uh-huh. Abhijit says to get attention. Okay, he wants something to get something. Yeah. So at the end of the day, if I am the brother of this guy, it might be possible that I might have hit him and he's crying, or maybe I got his chocolate and ate it myself, and he's crying for that. Okay. But because he cannot see it, so he's just crying. Okay. I do that most of the times in the metro. I take away the chocolate of this little kid, and then they cry because they cannot see anything. So that's evil a bit, but yeah, it's cool. Okay, but if you try to understand why a child is crying, uh, in mother's perspective, okay, uh, you really need to understand so many different scenarios of why this guy is crying. So you first feed him for some food, and then he's still crying. Then you maybe you try to call his dad or something like that, and then you try to change the diapers. You try to do 10 different things, and we as Indians usually try to take up the child and put him high in the air and kind of give him the jolly feeling and everything. So we try to make sure that he is good and he stops crying. Okay. So the initial communication which he does with the world is crying. Okay. And that's the only things he knows. Does he know Hindi, English, Malayalam, Kannada? No, he doesn't know anything. Okay. He just knows crying. Okay. And over the time, he learns the language which is spoken in his house or which he has been taught on a daily basis. So, being a Muslim, I might be learning Arabic, or I might be learning Urdu, or I might be learning Hindi, which is spoken most of the times at my home. But you might be surprised to know that I speak Marathi, very fluently, more fluently than a lot of my Marathi friends. And that is because I was grown in a Marathi, environment, and my neighbors were Marathi, so it was Maharashtrian, so they spoke Marathi all the time. So I spoke a lot of Marathi words, and that's how I was more fluent in Marathi than being in Urdu or Hindi. Okay. And today I don't speak much Marathi because that is, we left the neighborhood long back. So I'm not so fluent as of now. But earlier, in my early days, I was speaking Marathi more fluently than Hindi and English. Okay. So it totally depends on the environment. What you do is you collect data points and you try to learn from that data points. Okay. So if you are born, in a family where there are guns everywhere, you'll see all this gangster things going on here and there. You will become a gangster, right? But if you're born in a family where everyone is very punctual, they are kind of very very much tied up, so you might become a very very good guy. It totally depends on the environment which you are in. But once you grow up, once you become old, once you become like 19, 20, you get your own logic. Okay, you try to apply your own logic on top of things, and then you try to change things, right? People convert to different religions, or people kind of have their own thinking mentality. Some turn to atheist because they don't really like what's happening around. Okay. So as a human being, I usually say that human beings are nothing but machines, and they kind of learn over time and try to improve themselves and become a master of learning that, improving that, learning that, improving that. And at the end of the day, one day their electricity turns off and they go to sleep forever. So yeah, that's a very good concept. You should be, if you kind of are very excited about all these theories and all, you should definitely check out the 3D stimulation of human beings, which many believe is true. Okay, so so this is, as I told you earlier, also this is very beginner session, and then we move on to some major tools. So let's understand machine learning from a data perspective point. Okay, so today what we are going to do is we are going to what do you see on the uh, display? Yes, what do you see here? You see a bunch of emojis, right? Now what we are going to do is we are going to identify different scenarios based on this emoji set, and we use emojis on a daily basis, right? So actually, I don't know if we have professional audience here or something, but I usually give an example of what if I want to identify if someone is in a relationship or not. Okay, so what could be the emojis they might be using on a daily basis? So usually, what you can do to find out if your partner is cheating or not is you can actually check their recent emojis, and people don't kind of erase recent emojis. So you can go to WhatsApp, check the recent emojis instead of checking chat and all. And if you find some suspectable emojis which you haven't got in the recent communication, that might really be good point of debate. So you can catch your partners using recent emojis, not on you obviously. And people get very good at using emojis at night. So if you want to identify if someone is in a relationship or not, which emojis are you going to use? So personally, I'm not, in a relationship. I don't know which emojis you guys use. So as you guys type in the comments, I will try to mark them. Okay. So yeah, how many of you are typing in the comments? I'm able to see it. So add the comments, and I will be able to circle it here, and you will be able to see that. Okay. Okay. Someone says heart, so I'm marking heart. Are you able to see the heart? Okay, so I guess this is not visible. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reshare my screen. So give me a second. Okay, so let's go back to the chat section and love emoji. So this is the emoji. I'm using white color. I'll use pink one. Uh, this emoji. Okay, I marked this one. Then come on, be quick, guys. I'll mark this one. I know many people are shy here, but that is fine. Uh, I know some of them, so I'll mark some of them. Okay, ring. I don't see ring. Okay. Maybe my data set is very limited. So tell me from these emojis that you see on the screen. Uh, I might also see the heart one, this heart one, and maybe this one as well. Okay. Um, Not much. This one as well. Maybe sometimes. Okay. This one, this one, this one, this one as well. Uh-huh. This one, this one, this one, maybe. Okay, so these are the emojis which might help us identify maybe couples out there, and people from recent emojis if they are my kind of cheating or not. So let's erase this, and let's see for the professional communication. If you're using professional communication, which emoji set which you might be using. So if you're talking about professional communication, you might be using this emoji sets by conveying different kinds of emotions, like hey, hello, how are you, or maybe money, I want my salary, or I'm sleepy, and XYZ factors. Okay. Um, there are obviously multiple features. So what are the features to identify couple? So now again, I need to mark some of the emojis to identify, you know, um, people who are in the relationship. So in this emoji, come on, be quick, guys. Don't be shy. Just put in your emojis. I'll be able to mark them off. A lot of veggies. I won't kind of circle all of them, but I know how much I'll circle them maybe. Okay. Come on, put it in the chat, guys. I will be able to maybe see it. And this one, my friend specifically told me this one, so I'm marking that. And maybe some of the fruits. So this one might be there. 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 Some of the fruits maybe. Okay. Okay. So this might be some examples. Clock. Why do we need a clock? No, I don't think so. Okay. So this emojis will be much more helpful maybe. Okay. And yeah, this emojis, I guess, right? So these are the emojis which might be helpful, and some of the fruits maybe. Okay. Which I didn't mark maybe. Okay. So if I see this as a machine learning problem, if I want to frame the problem, I need features. They are X. So what are the features which I'm looking at as of now? So all the features which I marked in the emojis in the previous segment will be my X. So obviously there were multiple emojis, so there will be multiple X1, X2, and X3. Text N if there are multiple features available. So here we identified around 10 to 20 emojis, so they will act as a features. Output is Y. What is Y here? Y is around Y is something which is the output in a relationship, not in a relationship, or might be couple, not couple, or might be like shooting, not shooting, or something like that, or professional communication, not professional communication. So why is the label or the output which we are expecting? So professional, not professional, and X is a set of features which we are expecting them to build in into the system. Okay, so let's play a small game. Which movie is this? This is a Hindi movie, very famous, about plane hijacking. Can anyone tell me before we move on to the perfect one? It's Ninja, perfectly identified. What about this one? It is also a Hindi movie, um, um, about Jurwa 2. Perfect. Okay, people watch a lot of movies. What about this one? This is an English movie and very famous. Everyone should be able to see this, or the painting scene at least. Okay. What about this one? Has won many awards. Life of a Pi. That's good. Okay, so what I need to put is I need to put X data, a lot of data, and I need to put the corresponding output to that data. If that recent emoji is professional, not a professional, or XYZ labels which I want to portray. And then I need to define a neural network or a machine learning model or something in between. Let's consider that as magic as of now. And then train that and then save that here. Okay. So once I train that, I'll save that in a file. So I define a model here. Okay. So a model can be literally, anything here. It can be an algorithm. It can be a neural network. It can be XYZ factors. Then we train that algorithm on this data sets. And then we save the model into an exportable file. It can be .hdfi file or .pb file. My handwriting is not good, so listen to me. Okay, instead of seeing me right. Okay, and after that, what will happen is after you save the file, you can pass a recent emoji and get an output of if this emoji fits our understanding, okay, or fits our output. So is it right or is it wrong? So this is how the normal process looks like, okay? And if you kind of uh, see the real machine learning model, this is the real machine learning process, which happens most of the time. So this process is completely responsible of identifying patterns in data, okay? And it identifies the patterns and then it saves the model here. Patterns in regard to the relationship between the input and the output, okay? The features and the output relating to that features, okay? So the relationship between the X and the Y, it tries to identify this neural network or the machine learning model or anything, and gives you appropriate output. Okay, so that's good. Let's move ahead. There might be exception in boys group maybe. So your we don't usually talk in emojis. We talk in stickers. So stickers might be an exception here, which might not be able to give you a proper output if you have trained your model on emojis and you have not trained your model on stickers, because stickers are totally different now. So that becomes an exception. So yeah, you can say that stickers are exception here and cannot be used, but it can only work with emojis. Okay. So if you wonder about how everything started, how AI/ML started, you need to go back in history and look at different machine learning model or SOTA models or state of the art. SOTA, okay, state of the art. So SOTA models and see how they were able to achieve such a performance that they were able to defeat humans in games initially, and then moving forward, defeating them, helping them in businesses and driving business opportunity. So earlier it started as a factor where people were making algorithms which would compete or win different games like chess, Go, and later it turned into a very a field where people were progressing. They were using their algorithms in real world and getting benefits in terms of business. So if you see the start and the history, you might find Geoffrey, Hinton, Jan Ligon, Yoshia Bengio, McCarthy, and these all are a Turing Award winner. And Turing Award is same as Nobel Prize, okay, in CS, equivalent to that, in computer science. And some of the names of Francis, who is the creator of Keras, Jeff Dane, a very massive contribution in Google AI team. And Jan Ligan is also part of Facebook. So AI and AI Winter. So AI Winter really shaped how artificial intelligence, the research in AI, boosted up. And then yeah, the real big breakthrough was around 2012, I guess. So let me check the graph. Yeah, it was 2012. So you can check the timeline. The Turing test was invited in 1950s, and the first year winter happened around 1978, and then it continued till 1980. And it was called as boom times because there was a lot of they were receiving a lot of investment. At the same time, they were doing a lot of research. And but after the second AI winter, there was a buzz that people feared AI, and there was a lot of commotion. So people stopped the funding. There was not enough data, not enough compute power, and many more different problem statements. And again, it took a turn in 2012, and today it is in a very hyperactive mode. So let's talk about Intel and the Intel AI portfolio and how can Intel help us in our AI journey. So let's talk about why AI now. Why are we worried about AI now? What is the hype? Why is it a hype? Is it a reality? Should I go for it? Should I stop? What should I do? And as a beginner, that is a question which many people, you might ask many people and they might have different perspective to it. So my perspective to that is I really agree with this slide of Intel, which is that why AI now. So if you see the analytics curve and the AI curve, you can say earlier it was basically like in early days the data collection the collection of data was not so much. So if you see the collection of data we do today, you can see there are around 25 gigabytes of data a single internet users generate per month. Okay. And even if you're not connected to internet, you generate amount of data. You go to Big Bazaar, you buy something, you're generating data. Okay. You are going to a website, you are generating data. And you're doing anything, even offline, you're generating data. There is a CCTV camera in your colony, you're generating data. And all the data is collected. Okay. So if I talk about a typical internet user, he is spending around 25 gigabytes of data. If I'm talking about an everyday user, he is spending around 60 gigabytes of data uh, anywhere, okay, because of 2 GB per day, or you can even consider 1 GB per day, it becomes 30 GB. If I talk about smart cars, which are there in the market, like Tesla and all, they are around generating around 50 gigabytes of data per day, okay. If I talk about smart hospitals, which are equipped with smart, systems, health monitoring systems, they generate around 30 terabyte of data per day. And yeah, airplane, a typical Airbus generates around 40 terabyte of data per day. Similarly, a smart factory generates around 1 petabyte of data per day. and a city safety or city surveillance systems generate around 50 petabytes of data per day. Now, if you see such amount of massive data getting generated on a daily basis, it is next to impossible to manually look at this data and come up with a conclusion, or it might be, very not so effective to actually handle that data or generate any insight up from them, because it doesn't really, help you. So now, what you really want from the data is you want hindsight, you want insight, you want foresight, you want forecast, and you want that you can, so that you can act according to the things you have provided, or you adapt or make adaptive systems again, or you use your cognitive intelligence. So here you can see descriptive intelligence, diagnostic intelligence, predictive analytics, and then different types of analytics are mentioned here. So this is called as the analytics curve, which is growing on a daily basis, and AI is the major driving force of this curve. So everything which so all this data which is collected without AI, it will be next to impossible to even analyze even the data from each user. And that data is then converted into insights, which is then useful for business, operation, or security, based on the application which you're working on and the output which you're looking at. Okay. Okay. So what is AI? In terms of in technical terms, I would say that AI is the bigger picture, followed by machine learning, which is the sub part, followed by deep learning, which is the sub part. And then there comes NLP in between these. So NLP and NLU and natural language processing, natural language understanding falls in between. They are this is the part of some part of AI, some part of ML, and some part of deep learning. Okay. What is artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence is the ability of machine to act like intelligent human beings, or replicate or try to replicate the human behavior. Then comes machine learning. Machine learning is about getting the insight from the data, trying to predict the future, saying that if this is the forecast of a specific a specific stock, what could be the future, what could be the pattern in the near future. uh, a simple example could be seen here. So we are training a machine learning model with humans, bicycle, and strawberry. So we have a lots of tag data or label data, and then we are using a neural network or a deep learning algorithm to kind of pass that and use it in a forward way and a backward way to understand what a strawberry means, like what a bicycle looks like and what a human looks like. And then we come up with a solution, says that okay, this is how the bicycle might look like. And once we are agreeing that okay, this is educate, this can really work in real life, I can save the model weights and then do the interfacing on unseen data. I can do the interfacing on unseen data which is never seen before, and then get an output similar to the emoji example which we saw. Now there are many different approaches to artificial intelligence, and you should not be restricted to one. So you can do machine learning and AI using Excel as well. Okay, so I can show you examples of how we can use Excel to do AI and ML. That you can do that as well. Okay, so it is not restricted to massive algorithms in programming languages. You can literally do machine learning and using very simple tools as well. Okay, what will AI transform or where it is applicable? So Intel says that there are different categories where AI will be implementable: consumer, health, finance, retail, government, energy, transport, industrial, and then comes others. Okay, and if you look down the hierarchy and if you see different use cases, you might already be seeing all of much of this already in place. Okay, most of this already in place. Okay, sensory data, enhanced diagnostic. If you talk about COVID-19 and everything, trading, then fraud detection, risk mitigation, most of retail support, placement of your items in the store, loyalty program, supply chain, security, and many more aspects. So there are many more aspects about each of these, and you might be already seeing these implemented in your day-to-day life. And you can see education, gaming, and there are a bunch of services where AI can be implemented, and AI can transform this field into very much anything. Okay, so how does AI, how does Intel uh, help you in accelerating your journey towards AI? Or how can Intel help you with tools available? And I'll just discuss that. Okay, so there are it has modeled in 8 steps, starting from the challenge to the approach, to the value, to the people, technology, data model, and deployment. Okay, and each point represents some amount of it gives you an insight about how Intel tools can help you at each step, and make sure that you can deploy an application. Now, the first thing which comes to mind when you're talking about any software is about starting from how do you simplify AI? Okay, how can you make sure that you are not a high-end guy, you're a software engineer, and you don't know much about artificial intelligence, you're not a top-notch researcher. So how should you understand, or how should you uh, study AI in a very simple format? Now, which approach should you choose? Should you go with deep learning? Should you go with analytics? Just do analytics, not and they both are different. Okay, so just do deep learning, or do just analytics on top of the data, or which approach should you follow? Okay, which approach works for your solution? Then take your data, take your time. Okay, and bring your data, or you can say team your data. Okay, and Intel will help you on that step, and then speed up the development. So now you can use the technologies provided by Intel, the OpenAI software is available, and then deploy it for the any hardware which you want, Raspberry Pi, or FP16, or you can deploy it on any given hardware you want, and then scale with confidence. So if you want to scale it up, you can use the Intel's cloud, and you can scale it up as much as you want. Now, if you see at 3 layers of how Intel brings, or accelerates in your AI journey, is starting from hardware to community. Okay, so hardware, software, community, 3 layers, and each layer are very important. So a bunch of hardware is available: Intel Xenon processors, Movidius, Vision processing units, and many more. Then comes software: TensorFlow, PyTorch, MXNet, or ONX, OpenVINO Toolkit, Big DL, Intel's MKL DNN library, ML library, ML kernel, and many more. Then comes the community. So community means people, and if there are no people, obviously there are no people. It is you don't get much support, and if you don't get much support, that means you are you cannot implement that in your business, because if you get stuck, what will happen? So Intel has a community of Intel AI builders, then solution providers, developer program like the part I am of, and then Intel Dev Cloud, which will help you with the robust community to scale your applications and get your doubts cleared. Okay. Now, Intel also says that there is a myth about deep learning. Okay, and it says that the deep learning myth. Okay, and it says that a GPU is required for deep learning is a myth. That's what Intel says. Now, in the starting when I was working with Intel hardware, I totally disagreed with the sentence. I was like, man, this might not be true, because I'm not able to pull off my computing capacity on a CPU, and CPU is just running behind for me. Okay, it is not able to give me what I want, and it is not able to fulfill my request, because it just doesn't work. Okay, and then I try to understand what Intel is trying to say. So I try to explore the tools, and Intel says that they have this curve which has time on the x-axis, and deep learning demand on the y-axis. And then there is a break-even threshold, which is set here again using a blue line. And then there are two specific opportunities. One is called as early adopters, which are specifically researchers or developers of SOTA models, okay, state of the art models. So for them, GPU is required. It is very much necessary. Without GPU, they cannot come with that output, with that massive amount of data. But if you see most of the businesses, their threshold doesn't require you to have a GPU. So you can actually do or compete that into a CPU zone. Now, how can you achieve that? So I was curious, how can I achieve this? So you can use most of the businesses usually use a CPU of Intel, right? So what if Intel provides a software layer to the hardware which is already ships in the market, and gives you the ability to control how the hardware works, and utilize 100% of that hardware to do machine learning and deep learning. Okay, so that's how Intel justifies that GPU is required for deep learning is a myth, because most of the businesses don't have it, and people who it's costlier and you cannot completely switch your systems. So you should be able to work on your hardware which is already present. So which hardware are we talking about, or which software is Intel talking about? So here you can see you can talk about the OpenAI softwares available. So here there it is divided into three parts: toolkits, libraries, and kernel. Kernel means kernel level optimization. For example, Intel distribution for Python. So don't use normal Python. You use Intel distribution for Python. Okay. Intel's data analytics library, and then for deep learning, Intel Max kernel for deep neural network, really awesome, really fast, and gives you a perfect optimal output. Then comes deep learning frameworks or libraries. So languages, if you see languages, there's Python, there's R, and there are distributed other languages like Spark or Maut. If I talk about Python, there's scikit-learn, pandas, NumPy, Numba. If I talk about R, there is Start, Random Forest, E1071, and so on. These are the libraries which power this programming language, and for deep learning specifically. And if I talk about deep learning frameworks, there's TensorFlow, there's MXNet, there's PyTorch, Cafe, which are there and which are optimized as per the need for your CPU. Okay, most of them are already out, and there are some which are coming soon. And then comes toolkit. So Intel has their own toolkit of OpenVINO, and it has a lot of support. It supports CPUs, GPUs, FPGAs, VPUs. VPU stands for Vision Processing Units, for TensorFlow, Cafe, MXNet, and so many different frameworks available. And then Sonata, which is in beta as of now, which is open source, scalable, and accessible distributed deep learning platform built on Kubernetes. So these are the tools which powers you, which are provided by Intel, which can help you to develop fast and ship fast. Okay, how do you learn this? So learning is very simple. Intel has its own AI Academy for students, developers, instructors, and startups. So you can go to the website, that is software.intel.com/AI, and you will be able to see the Intel AI Academy, where you can learn about all these different technologies and implement them in your day-to-day life. You can showcase your projects, you can teach, you can develop, and you can learn. Okay. So if I talk about DevMesh, I have already showed you, but I'll show you my DevMesh also, which you can see where I have actually published a lot of uh, yeah. So this is how the DevMesh looks like, and you might be able to see multiple projects here, which are developed, which are open source by a lot of people, and they are very impactful projects. So if I go to my projects, let me show you my projects. And one of the projects which I've been working for was PPE detection with my team, and so this is a very good output which I get. I'm using your Intel's online platform of Intel 10 Cloud, and trying to identify using 5 different classes. And here you can see the output, which is quite good, as far as I see the results. It is more improved now, and will be soon out with a paper and open sourcing the code and the data set as well. So this is some of the projects. You can go ahead and you can find a lot of other projects as well. And yeah, so this is the tool which helps you to kind of share your knowledge with the community as well. Okay. Now, why Intel AI? So simplifying, as I told you earlier as well, it is helping you with a lot of different tools available. So you can choose a Intel as a partner and then get started with machine learning on Intel if you have the Intel hardware. Okay. Now, one more thing which is very good about Intel's cloud is they have their own cloud called as Dev Cloud, and Dev Cloud has a lot of projects and demos which is powered by Xenon scalable processors. And it has around 24 cores and two hyperthreading with 96 GBs of on-platform RAM, DDR4, and 200 GB of file storage. So that's massive, right? And if you get that access, you will be, you can really do wonders. So if you want a free access of it, you can go and apply for Dev Cloud, and you will get a 60-day free access to Intel Dev Cloud to do your research on this cloud. So go ahead, apply for it, and you should be good. If you need any support in that, I will be more than happy to help you out. Okay, so I'll just show you how the Intel Dev Clouds look like. So yeah, so this is Intel One API Dev Cloud. You can sign up using this. Um, So meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can ask because I'm about like we are on the verge of ending the session. Let me just log in and show you the interface. It's really good. So here, this is Intel Developer Zone, and here you can see, I have my own access. So you can go to Cloud Access, and here you can see you can check for one API which gives you the ability to program different like you will be writing different softwares for different platforms, but this unifies everything and gives you the tools. So I already have this access, but you can get it easily. So it's available on DevCloud. Uh, no, I already have access. Okay. uh, till then, you can also go to the chat, and I have given you the links for downloading OpenVINO Toolkit, so you can go ahead and you can download that. So yeah, you can check out this website, and I'll send all the links, obviously. So you can train your model directly on cloud, and you can get started with the right applications. Okay, so it's asking me for the UID argument, which I cannot disclose because that's personal and it might compromise my account. So let me stop the screen sharing here and let me log in and then screen share it back. So just give me a second. Till then, you can shoot in your questions so that I am able to see that. Not a problem. Yeah, so there was a question in the chat which said that for interface CPU is okay, but what about training? No, I'm not talking about interfacing. I'm talking about training. So if you're you can actually do training on Intel CPUs. So we are not talking about interfacing. For interfacing, you can actually use you can interface it to your on Raspberry Pi using MoVDS and other different edge devices directly. So it doesn't you don't really need GPU for training. It takes time. Yes, I agree for that. But you can use hyperthreading, and there are much more you can say like if you use Intel's current library, it was last time recorded that it was 200 times faster than the normal GPU training which happens. So some of them does have that benefit, but yeah.
Anyone have any doubts? They can post in the either in the chat section, or if you have any doubts after the session ending, you can post it on the MakerGram forum, and Ali or anybody else will be attending that.
Sure, just give me a second as well. I'm just getting the ID. Okay.
Yeah.
Also, anyone has used MoVDS before? No one?
There's one more question for you in the chat session.
Okay, let me check that. Training for the interference CPU is okay, but what about training? I answered that. Training mostly done in parallel processing, so which will work efficiently, yes. CPU versus GPU considering cost and all. So if I talk about costing, which is like if the cost is very primary to you and you don't want to switch your hardware, then for that case, what you can do is you can actually use CPU and using optimization. So what I usually do is I kind of put that in training for a lot of hours, and then just keep it training till like for overnight usually. So I keep it overnight training, and it works most of the times. And there's a course called as Intel's DC to Edge, that is data center to edge, and in that we are training on VGG data which is around 12 GBs. So we are training on a subset of that, which is around 500 MBs. And for training that on a CPU, it takes around 15 to 18 minutes on an i5 8 Gen, and using all the optimizations provided by Intel. And that's like, that's an ideal problem statement where we have around I guess each class has around 600 to 800 images, and looking at that, that is like acceptable. Like, yeah. So looking at all that aspects, you can consider CPU over GPU. Coral is good, right? So I'll show you one. I'll also turn on my camera. So just give me a second. I'm actually.
Yeah, Ali, we have one more question from Mohammed Suhail. He's asking, can we do deep learning with Ryzen?
Deep learning with Ryzen. Ryzen as in GPU, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it. I don't find why you can't. It's not like so you can do it. Like, I don't find any reason why you can't, unless you can find the drivers. I don't have a Ryzen, but if you have drivers, obviously you can definitely do it. There's no one stopping you, right?
Yeah, you have one more question from Salman.
Go ahead.
Can you suggest a good postnet framework that can run low-end devices?
So if you're working with that, I would recommend you to use TensorFlow with TF Lite. TF Lite enables it, it makes it very easy for you to run on edge devices. Apart from that, Intel's OpenVINO Toolkit has a lot of optimizations specific to hardwares. So there are, it has a lot of optimizations, not just graph optimizations specific to your hardware, which company your hardware belongs to, or what you're going to do in that specific hardware. It provides you a bunch of tools. Okay, so you can go ahead and you can use that as well. So both of them are really good. For that case, PyTorch is not my recommended option, because PyTorch still, you can still use PyTorch and generate models and convert them using TF Lite, using saving that format, hacking around. But when I talk about running on low-end devices, it's better to use TensorFlow or go with OpenVINO Toolkit, which already has a bunch of models. And I could show you a demo. So just let me share my screen again. And here you go. And let me turn on my camera as well. So I guess you are able to see me. So let me grab the device which I was talking about. So I have this one. I bought it like 3 years back, and I've been doing a lot of vision critical applications on this. And I use this for interfacing. It is the previous tech. Now it has upgraded to NCS 2.0. So this is how it looks like. Oops, I guess it is not able to show you. So this is Movidius, and it has vision processing. So it has two VPUs, and it works amazingly on interfacing with Raspberry Pi. And I have tried it many times, and it works very amazingly with Raspberry Pi, Arduino, and I'm able to get perfect interfacing while I convert the model using OpenVINO Toolkit. So even if you are doing vision specific approaches, you can use hardware like this, and it only costs around 6,500. But if you are working on the research, you can ask Intel for the hardware, and you can get it for free as well. Okay, so that's there. Also, one link which I provided you earlier. I guess it was there in your chat. Here in the chat.
Yeah, the links were shared in the chat.
Yeah, so you can go to that and you can download the OpenVINO Toolkit. So yeah, this is how it looks like. And you can download it for your specific OS operating system. You need to register it and you will get a license. To install it on Windows, it takes you, it is a lot of hectic process because you need to install a lot of stuff there. Okay, you need to install C++ compiler and then Visual Studio and everything. But for Linux installation, it is really easy. Okay, so for Linux, it's way easier than for Windows, but it does include a lot of optimizations, deep neural networks. So it has the compute library, it has Intel's DNN library, then it has a lot of code samples. So pedestrian example is there. Then there are bunch of examples ready to go. So you can just export them and you will be able to work with them directly. Okay. So yeah, that's about it. Let me finish off my remaining presentation, which is very less. So yeah, you can go ahead and you can start with it. So you can see Intel's optimized TensorFlow, Intel's optimized Piano, Keras library, math kernel library are just bunch of elements which are available and which are used on a for optimization on CPU. So demo time, this is the URL which I showed you, which you can open it. And yeah, go ahead and download that. That will be helpful to get a hands-on experience. So we are running short on time. I'll definitely show you some examples or send you maybe some links which has already implemented some examples. Also, it takes, there's a lot of question about will there be, humans will not be able to, survive in this opportunity. And I usually respond to that saying that the fittest survive every time. And if the humans thought that, 500 years back or 500 million years back, when there was nothing, they were cavemen and they were not even able to light a fire, if they thought that we could never survive this, they would, we would never see this day. And at the same time, if today we say that we will never be able to survive in the age of AI, you will never be able to survive. Okay, obviously, the fittest survive every time. And AI is just helping you in a lot of terms. And also there are concerns regarding it, like for OpenGMD models, which have been released recently, which showcases superhuman-like capabilities, which are really awesome for experimentation basis. But if I talk about AGIs and the concepts behind movies, it is far away. But yeah, you should be scared, and at the same time, you should always try to learn and try to implement new technologies because that is the way forward. That is how you will learn. So I'm not going to cover some basic programs and all. That is very easy. So TensorFlow, that's why people might ask why you require a lot of compute power. So usually when you're working with machine learning algorithms, what you get is not a scalar data or a vector data or a matrix data. You get data in multi-dimension, which is a tensor. And to process a tensor, you require a lot of memory, and that's why Intel has the deep neural network, DNN library, which gives you the ability to process that very easily and effectively on CPUs as well. So yeah. So if you are inputting this image as an input, you will get, where is the output of that image? Yeah. You will get an output like this. And this is an example of, I have done this on OpenVINO Toolkit using the provided examples already. So you can go ahead and you can try it out and maybe, ask your doubts to me and I'll be able to help you out. So at the end of the day, are humans smarter? Yes, absolutely yes. But machines can outperform them sometimes, but not all the time. Also, you might be seeing a recent trend of people developing AutoML systems, and that is a threat to the AI and ML community as well, because that will enable anyone to make models and deploy them very easily. And that will again endanger the jobs of AI scientists who endanger the job of normal people, which people think. But it's all about the fittest survives. There are a bunch of examples available here, which I'm just skipping out, but you can always go ahead and do that. So one of my favorite examples is about Quick Draw, which is very close to me. So I'll pass this link in the chat, which you might be able to see it. So this is a very good example of how you can actually use AI to maybe predict your drawing. So here you need to draw a donut, and it is going to guess. So fireplace, how do you draw a fireplace? Mhm. So what's up, man? This is how the fire looks like, right? I'm bad at drawing, I know. You need a fabric or something. I can draw a coffee cup. Yeah. So you can see this as basic examples of how you can see how they guess different items. Okay. Okay. So this is a simple example of how you will gamify. You can see how gamification has happened. What I would really love you guys to do is use this data set and train it on your CPU and get out with crazy outputs, and that will really, really be awesome. So it has a vector data set of all the drawings which have been done till now from different countries with encoding. So you can definitely try this out, and it will really be helpful. Also about the jobs in the market, so you'll see a lot of jobs like machine learning engineer, application developer, full stack engineers, data scientist, a hottest job as of now, and also sales editor is also one of the highest paid jobs as of now. Python developer is also one of them. And in general, if I talk about the source, by 2024, IT jobs are going to increase. And not don't take my word for it. Take the word of if you even see the current scenario, all the industries are impacted apart from IT, because most of the things we just need a laptop to do stuff, right? And if you see companies like Accenture, TCS are reporting profit instead of losses. Okay, so IT is gonna grow, and you need to learn it, and you need to be in the market. So that's it from my side, and I hope you really like this. And you can contact me at that given details. I'll be more than happy to assist you, maybe with whatever details you need. If you have any questions, I'm happy to take it as of now.
Uh, Thank you, Ali. Thank you for the interactive section. So if you have any query, you can post the queries at our MakerGram form. So due to our time limit, we will be concluding our session. Thank you, Ali, once again. Thank you all for joining the session.
Okay. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you.